This is Dylan. I'm Dylan, and this is my Dimir deck profile. I don't know what to call this deck. It's Dimir, somewhat control, somewhat mill, not quite anything else. Control mill.
It's unique.
It's unique Dimir. Okay, let's go ahead and get it started with 4 Temple of Deceit, and then just 4 Dimir Guild Kit. The guild gates are obviously just for blue or black mana, and the Scrylands are just really good because this deck needs to get what it needs fast. I run 2 Rogue's Passage because I can't make a lot of big monsters, so when I can make a really big monster, I want it to be unblockable. That's really important. Now I run, I think it's 6 swamps, and then 6 islands, just basic lands. I chose to make it even on those since I have a fairly even split on the colors. That's it for the lands. I think it's 22 lands, somewhere around there. Now I'm going to go to the creatures. I run 2 Consuming Aberration. Power and toughness equal to cards in opponent's graveyard. It can get really big really fast. And his secondary effect, which I forget about a lot, but I really think it's a really good effect. Anytime I play a spell, my opponent mills until they've milled a land. Which isn't always a lot, but sometimes that can be a lot of cards milled. And for every card milled, his power and toughness go up. So then I run 4 White of Precinct 6. 2 cost, starts at 1/1. He gets +1/+1 for every creature in my opponent's graveyards. And he can get pretty big with all the milling that goes on here. And then on the same page is White of Precinct 6 is Night Howler. Gets +X/+X, where it's creatures in all graveyards, including my own. So he's Night Howler, but includes my own graveyard. Or he's White of Precinct 6, but includes my own graveyard. And then right here, one of my personal favorite cards of the deck, not necessarily one of the best, but one of my favorites, is Nightveil Spectre. And, you know, sometimes I can get away with Nightveil Spectre and get my opponent's lands and then use their cards. And that's just really fun to do. And sometimes he's just a free 2 damage, you know. And he thins my opponent's deck regardless, so that's good. Omen Speaker, just an easy chump block with the Scry 2. I think it's pretty important. Then I run 2 Death Cult Rogue, free 2 damage, and I can just send him out pretty low cost. Nice little card. That wraps it up for the creatures. So I'm going to go to sorceries and instants and all the rest now. I run 4 Pilfer Plans. Basically, a better version of Divination. It's just, I draw 2 cards, and my opponent mills 2 for the same converted mana cost as Divination. And it just really helps this deck keep going. The draw power this card gives is really important. And then, since we're on the subject of milling, 2 Tome Scour, just mill 5. That's just fine right there. And then I run 1 Mind Grind. This card is a black and blue and X, and my opponent mills until they've milled X lands. So this card is crazy late game. My favorite thing I've done with this card, I just had mana everywhere, and then went Mind Grind for 10 and made my opponent mill 10 lands. And going against Esper, who I was up against, that's really good because they need all the mana they can get. So Mind Grind really helps control your opponent's mana. And then 3 Psychic Strike. It's a really good counter because after I counter a spell, my opponent puts the top 2 cards of their library to the grave. Just a counter plus mill. And then 2 Dissolve. Just counter plus Scry. Scry is probably one of my... In this deck, it's one of my favorite abilities because this deck needs to get certain cards at certain times. You need to be able to control what cards you're going to be getting next. It's not simply everything will work at every moment. You have to have certain cards. And this card, 4 Cyclonic Rift. I don't actually see this card getting a lot of use, and I don't understand why. Maybe it's just around here it doesn't get a lot. But just 2 cost, return any non-land permanent I don't control to owner's hand. I can make it a 7 cost and overload to make it each non-land permanent I don't control to owner's hand. And that can save games right there. It's really important. Then 2 Doomblade. Would be Hero's Downfalls, but you know, Hero's Downfall is $10 right now. So.
Well, it's 20 on Star City Games.
Oh, it's 20 on Star City. I'm sorry, everyone. I messed up. Silly
Ridiculous.
me.
Should have got one. It was 8.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then this card, possibly one of the best cards of the deck. 3 Reap Intellect. It's a black, blue, 2, and then X. Opponent reveals hand, and then I choose X non-land cards from that hand. I exile those cards and all cards from their deck and graveyard and hand. All copies of it exiled. Favorite play I've done with this. Against the same Esper player, I did Mind Grind for 10. I went Reap Intellect for 4, where X equaled 4. In their hand just happened to be Sphinx Revolution, Hero's Downfall, Thoughtseize, and Jace, Archetype of Thought. So I got to get rid of some of the best cards in the Esper deck with this 1 Reap Intellect. It was just I mean, that's 8 mana, but it probably saved me and won that game for me. And then the last 2 cards of the deck are 2 Jace Memory Adept. I mainly use his 0 effect because my opponent having more cards in the grave is more important than me getting 1 draw. And I've yet to use the ultimate simply because I mainly use the 0 effect. But for this deck, the 0 effect works really well. It gets my creatures stronger, and I consider milling somewhat of a control aspect because it limits what my opponent has in their deck to use. It limits their arsenal. It makes it so they don't have as much comebacks. So that is my Dimir control mill deck. That's hideous. You know, that's how a spread shouldn't look. Yeah. Let's not look at that anymore. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it here over at Team Sex-a-Mech.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a shout out to Inked Playmats. I got this lovely Sean Connery playmat from them. You can order custom playmats, and they've even got pre-made playmats, very reasonably priced. I got this custom playmat, $25.
We're not sponsored by them, gotta mention.
We're not sponsored by them, sorry.
I wish we were.
They say they appreciate shoutouts, though. I'm going to go ahead and give them one. Really nice quality. I love this playmat. Just leave a comment. We'd love to hear feedback on the deck, feedback on the video even, and feedback on your heart.
Keep watching.
Yeah, keep watching.
Rate, comment, and subscribe.
Don't rate, comment, and subscribe. We're not
5-star it.
You know what? Upvote this on Reddit.
Oh yes, that's a good one.
Fuck the other chocolates. Goodbye.
In an apocalypse, I would wish that only Heath would survive.
Well, okay.